Hey, Ravi with Shipa. I'm currently the field CTO of Shipa. If you're unfamiliar with Shipa, Shipa is an organization helping redefine this paradigm called AAC or Application as Code. Imagine it as Terraform, but for your applications. Our biggest prediction for 2022 is a hyper focus on developer experience. Now, this actually applies to multiple parts of the organization, so let's unpack that. What is developer experience? It's basically like user experience, but the primary consumer is a developer. How do they interact with systems? How quickly can they learn? How quickly can they accomplish the tasks? What is the burden and toil on them? But as you know, the march of DevOps, there's a lot more asterisks as code out there. So a lot of more traditional jobs in the sense are starting to look like software engineering type of jobs because the iteration and safety that's needed to produce something is there. And also there's trial and error where there wasn't trial and error before. Now, taking a look at what a good developer experience means, well, helping reduce ramp time, helping reduce the learning burden, and taking a look at a couple of major changes that have happened over the last year or two. For example, there's this rise in Get is ubiquitous. So this rise in a paradigm called GetOps, basically Get-based deployment and delivery of your applications to declarative infrastructure like Kubernetes. And also, Kubernetes is not bleeding edge anymore. It's been out since 2014. Organizations have been adopting it. But really, complexity never goes away. With a lot of items shifting left because the engineers have something as code, it's really making sure that expertise is disseminated properly and also shared across the organization, which a lot of pillars of developer experience can benefit tooling, can benefit platforms that let's say engineers have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, kind of across the spectrum from ops to development. So we're really excited for 2022 and excited where it takes us. Cheers, Ravi.
Hi, I'm Tom Sego, co-founder and CEO of BlastWave, and I wanted to share with you some of my predictions for 2022. So I don't think I'm stepping out on a big limb here to say that the pandemic is becoming endemic, and I think work from home is going to be here to stay in some format. I read a survey that said 97% of employees would like to have the capability or capacity to work remotely in some form. And so I think that means that software-defined perimeters are going to be much more important going forward, and they're going to start replacing VPNs at a much faster clip. And in fact, the prediction is that software-defined perimeters are going to grow at 50% year over year into 2022. My second prediction is around us moving to passwordless multi-factor authentication. This is one of those rare times in which adding convenience also adds security. Because if you don't have any usernames or passwords to remember, there's nothing to forget, there's nothing to phish, there's nothing to socially engineer either. So I think passwordless multi-factor authentication is going to increase in the next year as more and more people are applying zero trust principles to their network and the way they operate. My third prediction is around cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency, as you probably know, is used by a lot of malicious actors to monetize ransomware and other forms of cyber attacks. And I believe that this is going to show itself in the form of Bitcoin hitting $100,000 per coin by the end of 2022. So those are just three of the predictions that I have going into 2022. And let's check back in another year and see how we did. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Brad Peterson, VP of Marketing at Workspot. As we've learned from the last year and a half, companies around the world have found themselves in the interesting position of doing a full company work from home exercise. And this is not a drill. Sounds like a big challenge for a lot of folks and a lot of companies, and especially the IT department. So what did we learn? Number one, there's a new cloud term out there, and that's cloud workers. We now finally recognize the office worker and the home worker as equal citizens. So when you move your desktops and your apps and your data to the cloud, your user experience is the same regardless of location. And when you work from home, you connect into the cloud for all services. And when you go to the office, if you still have one, you connect into the same cloud for all the same services. So one of the primary reasons knowledge workers commute an hour each way to the office is to be close to the services, to their data, to their apps. They're all in the cloud now, so go home or go to work. Either way, you'll have the same great cloud experience from anywhere. Now, number two, A new acronym, BYOH. I predict we'll add one more acronym to our vocabulary alongside BYOD, bring your own devices like laptops and smartphones. I predict BYOH will become a common term. Now, bring your own home, where employees in this case, in addition to BYOD, now bring their own home. So BYOH means bringing your office and your desk and your chair and your power and your monitors and your internet and your heat and your AC, food, garbage removal, landscaping, the whole deal. These costs move from the company to the employee. And yet it also provides the employee some newfound flexibility and level of work-life balance that they appreciate. So it's a pretty interesting trade-off. BYOH. Now, number 3, approaching 100% perfectly provisioned for the first time ever. So we're moving from a world where every corporation has their own on-prem data center fully provisioned to handle peak load to a world where all corporate resources are provisioned just in time and on demand in the public cloud region nearest the user for the greatest response time. Now, CapEx moves to OpEx, and the team will now have more time and energy to focus on the core business, no longer caught up in the break fix and infrastructure plumbing, making more strategic decisions for the business and supporting more employees without adding additional IT staff. That's an interesting one. Now we go to the grid for everything. We consume electricity and water, internet, and now IT services like desktops, apps, and data fluidly and all together seamlessly. So where do I see the future going? Digital transformation could be renamed cloud transformation. Just like CRM and ERP, email, voice services, and more have all moved out of the data center and into the cloud, every function that can be provided in software is moving or already has moved to the cloud. So your world is now evergreen. Your cloud desktop is always being improved from software updates and even hardware updates like CPU, GPU, memory, solid state drives, networks. They're all continually being improved, being bigger, faster, better. So with this hire well, the 50-mile radius around your corporate office is no longer the perimeter for hiring. You can now hire globally and retain top talent regardless of life's relocation circumstances. Move here, move there, it doesn't matter. Stay with the company. So in 2022, we'll begin to make the choices of where we work based on the quality of human experiences, no longer limited by technology constraints. We'll ask ourselves questions like, where can I be more productive, more collaborative, more of a team player, more of an individual contributor, or more inspired, or just more happy? On behalf of all of us at Workspot, I'd like to wish you and yours a very happy new year. Best of luck in 2022. Thank you.
I'm Krishna Subramanian, co-founder and COO of Komprise. My prediction for 2022 is that we're going to hear a lot more about unstructured data analytics. Businesses have been scrambling to adopt cloud data warehouses and cloud data lakes, which is why you've heard a lot about companies like Snowflake and Databricks recently. But 90% of the world's data today is unstructured, has no specific schema, and remains dark and inaccessible to these platforms. This is becoming a bigger problem as companies are trying to adopt machine learning to improve their efficiency, and machine learning relies on this unstructured data. So we're going to see two things happen in 2022. First, data lakes and data warehouses are going to expand their support for unstructured data. But second, data management is going to address the massive gap of finding and bringing the right unstructured data into data analytics and data platforms. What do I mean by that? Well, unstructured data is really large and unwieldy. It can be billions of files and objects strewn across the edge, data center, and clouds. So simply searching, finding the right files, creating some structure around this unstructured data, and getting it ready and ingesting it into a data lake, a data warehouse, or a data engine like AWS Comprehend is not an easy task. So that data management of unstructured data analytics and bridging it with data platforms is something we're going to see a lot more of in 2022.
Hello, everyone. Happy holidays and Happy New Year. My name is Anil Inamdar and I'm the VP of Data Solutions for Instaclustr. Instaclustr is a leading open source data platform provider supporting widely used data technologies. Following are my three predictions in no particular order for 2022. Prediction 1. Database management will find new ML powered or machine learning powered paths to optimization. Now, machine learning will act as a smart DBA, creating optimized data indexes, automatically handling and reindexing, and providing optimized storage management. Prediction number 2. Database architecture, storage, and management will become distributed, strengthening the new era of data mesh. The data itself will become decentralized and distributed, enabling self-service data access, local data management, and decentralized analytics within a given domain. Prediction number 3. Open source communities will continue to innovate and fend off competition from open core and proprietary vendors. A recent example of this is the emergence of OpenSearch, an open source alternative to Elasticsearch, after Elastic.co's shift away from true open source licensing. Thank you for your time, and once again, wishing you a happy new year.